Why are some of these doctors so disrespectful to nurse practitioners? It just makes no sense. It's Angel the Psych NP. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome, and if you are old here, welcome back. I'm Angel the Psych NP. I'm a mental health nurse practitioner, and I talk about a lot of different things on this channel, mainly trying to do nursing and mental health. So I wanted to do a chit chat today to kind of talk about the disrespect from doctors to nurse practitioners, at least what I've experienced and some of my friends have experienced. I'm working in a correctional setting right now in a prison, and basically the prison has no staffed providers. They're using all travel providers to come in. When I got in this role, I was a new grad. This is my first mental health nurse practitioner job, and I got lucky, really got lucky to get in where I'm at in this role as a provider, as a new grad. So I'm very thankful and grateful. There has been several changes out of psychiatrists versus nurse practitioners coming in and out because, again, there are travelers there. They do 3 months and leave, or they stay longer. When I first got there, the chief psychiatrist that hired me, he was also a traveler. Well, he only took the role for about 4 months until he decided that they needed somebody else that was going to be full-time, like living in the area there. He decided he couldn't do it. He left the position. Once he left, they had no CPO, no chief psychiatrist there. A doctor who started a week after me, he has the experience, so they ended up giving him the interim psychiatrist role. Prior to them giving him this role when he first got there, again, remember, he only got there a week after me. I told him I was a new grad. I was here, I wanted to learn. I like challenges. My first job was in an ICU, a trauma ICU in a level 1 trauma center. Everybody in nursing school said, "You crazy, don't do that. You need to go to med surg, blah, blah, blah." Trauma ICU nurse, my first nursing job. Straight out of, NP school, I'm in a secure psychiatric unit with some of the sickest patients in the state. These patients, when the state hospital doesn't know what to do to them, they send them to us. Thankful and grateful. He said, "Okay, I love to teach, I'll help you out. I'll help you out, whatever. I have a lot of experience. I did forensics, blah, 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 blah." Then he got the CPO role as an acting psychiatrist. Everything went downhill after that. So he got the role maybe 2 months ago. He barely comes over there to see what I'm doing, to know what I'm doing. I just been, I have some of the easier patients in the unit, not the most critically ill. The new people, the new nurse practitioners or psychiatrists that were coming in, they were taking on more the people who had like more severe illnesses that basically was refractory to meds, and they were just trying to figure out their medication regimen. I'm always with them, helping them figuring out, learning, etc. This past week goes by, and all of a sudden I'm a safety issue for the unit, according to this chief's interim acting psychiatrist. So I'm like, well, what changed? I've been here 4 months. My contract is only 2 months. I have only 2 months left on my contract. Why now? Did something happen? Did somebody report anything safety wise that I did to the patient or I prescribed the patient? No. Well, why are you here? Like, what are we talking about here? What changed that you want to move me into a different area? "Oh, I would have never hired you for this role." Okay, well, I'm here now. I've been here for 4 months. It wasn't up to you to hire me, so I'm here. So now what? Yeah, the other person who was here before you, she wasn't qualified to be in this role either. Okay, we were both hired. What are we talking about here? Like, what are you coming to me telling me basically that you think I'm incompetent and whatever, and I shouldn't be over here in this role? What are you telling me this for? "Yeah, because I'm concerned about the patient's safety. I've been here 4 months. You've been an acting CPO for 2 months. Why now? Like, why now? the question got a lot of avoidance of like, oh, I didn't have the time to come over here and check. Oh, but if you're so concerned about the patient's safety, you make time for that. You make time for that. So it was okay for the patients to be unsafe in my care, according to you, for 2 months, and now you got time. Now you need to address it. That sounds real shady to me. So he went on to say stuff like, again, about him he wouldn't have hired me. He doesn't think that, this is the area for a new nurse practitioner to start in. When doctors go to MD school, they do 4 years of residency. Now let's talk about that. ICU nurse, born, raised, bred ICU nurse. I can't count on 2 hands. I cannot count, in 10 toes I cannot count how many residents, because I've always worked in teaching institutes, that come to the bedside and they need help, or they want help making a decision or a plan, because they respect the fact that the nurse is at the bedside the whole time with the patient and they want a full clinical picture. They don't have all the answers. So don't tell me about when the residency part of your MD school, that once you're done with residency that you full ready to go out there and you don't need no supervision or anything, because that's so far from the truth. He forgot that he was once a new graduate out here, and that's typical of people when they get in certain roles. Some people, people with character issues. But I felt so disrespected that after 4 months of me working here, that he comes to basically try to belittle me and belittle the nurse practitioner role. So I had a patient that came in. I gave this patient a complete medication regimen that I changed from when he was at the previous hospital. I didn't come up with that plan by myself. I consulted with another nurse practitioner who had been there who had been a nurse practitioner for 20 years, but again, she's a traveler here. We came up with that plan and we had a plan of action moving forward. He went in and completely changed my whole plan of care for the patient. Not that my plan of care was wrong, but it's just not what he would have done. Now, we all know we got different providers all over the world. There are different providers all over social media that one group of providers, for example, says, don't eat meat, causes cancer, whatever. Then there's another group of providers saying, only eat meat, leave the carbs, the veggies, and all that alone. A carnivore diet will this, and that. You have the two divided. They both went to med school. They just practice different. So do that mean that either one of them are wrong? No, it means that this one does things one way and this one does things another way. It's a respect or agreeing to disagree. But you don't just go change my whole plan without even consulting with me. I went down and talked to the patient before I knew that he changed my plan and told him that everything was good to go, because I also discussed with the patient what the plan of care was. And one thing about this secure unit that I'm working on, they have the utmost respect for their patients. They don't care how mentally ill they are or what their crimes are. They have rights as patients there. We do not make any decisions on those patients' medication regimen without consulting with them. If they are too mentally ill to make a decision, because some patients feel like they don't trust us, they don't trust the medications, they don't want to take any medication, and obviously they get more and more mentally ill. You have to get a guardian for those patients. And then the guardian makes decisions for those patients. He basically just didn't care about any of those things and just changed my medication regimen and said he'll do it again. So disrespectful. So I am in this space now of and again, there are many doctors out there who respect nurse practitioners, who work well with nurse practitioners. So this is more of a character thing, but it is a problem for a lot of people. Like, I have a friend who's a family nurse practitioner. She just walked away from a contract in Louisiana because the doctors there didn't respect her. She's a provider, they're providers. They went and complained that she was parking in the provider's parking spaces and that she was using the doctor's lounge. That's disgusting. Like, really? Y'all gonna go complain to administration that she's not a doctor and she can't provide, she shouldn't park in the provider spaces, but she's doing the exact same job that you guys are doing? She just didn't go to med school. And I think a lot of this comes from this whole med school versus nurse practitioner school thing, that they don't respect the nurse practitioner because the nurse practitioner didn't go to med school. But again, the way the world is changing, there's like a 40,000 doctor shortage. Y'all can't do it all. You can't do it all. You can't make all the money. You can't do it all. In lieu of all these doctors who don't want nurse practitioners, some doctors, there's a doctor in Florida that's a really good doctor. He won't hire nurse practitioners. He only want other doctors. But you can't get an appointment with him for 8 months if somebody wants to go to him. Who wants to wait 8 months for an appointment when you feel like you're ill? Nobody wants you. There's a group of people that run to the emergency room for everything, and there's also a group of people that just rather see their primary care physician. You can't get an appointment for 8 months, but you don't want to hire a nurse practitioner because you want all the money, or you want, I don't know what it is. But it's stupid. It's selfish. It's not you really caring about the greater good of people. And this guy, he basically said, my concern as the chief is for the safety of the patients and not your educational needs. Baby, I'm here to tell you, I was a professional that day. Just know that. I was a professional that day. Because the fact that I don't have to stay here, that's one thing I've always loved about being a traveler. If people are disrespectful or whatever, I could just go. If administration don't want to deal with it, I could just get up and go, no strings attached, and on to the next contract. But this opportunity is so good for me that I needed to woosah and think about, if I walk away from this, I lose this opportunity. But I'm also still at the same time thinking, is this guy about to be coming after me now? Like, am I going to be at work and am I taking care of my patients and then he's going behind doing what he want to do? He's doing it basically under the chief role because we're lateral here. We do the exact same thing here. We could prescribe the exact same medications. I don't have to ask him about anything. He doesn't have to, we're lateral. So now I'm in this space of thinking, like, I don't know, like, do I want to stay here and be disrespected? I don't care. He made a comment about him hurting my feelings. You can't hurt my feelings because I don't care enough about you for my feelings to be hurt. I have to care about you to be able to hurt my feelings. Like, I'm cut from a different cloth. Like, you can't hurt my feelings, but you could disrespect me, and that's what I feel, disrespected. So I don't know, guys. I just wanted to bring to your attention that there's and I don't believe it's a whole profession type of thing. It's just a character thing, but it does exist with this disrespect from doctors to nurse practitioners. Like, can't we all just get along? Because it's not about us. It's about the greater good of the patient. If you're a doctor working with a nurse practitioner that you think she may need some more education on, or it's something you can help her on, help her, but not belittle her because she didn't go to MD school and use that to pop your collar. Because she's still getting paid. And I'm sure she's not doing something so insanely unsafe for the patient that if you're a good doctor, you should say something and not just let her fail, because then if she fails, the patient fails. But I know everybody don't think that way. So I don't know, guys. Be prepared for that doctor-nurse practitioner beef, when you get in the field, because it's real and it's happening. I have other stories, but again, I think it's a people thing. It's a character thing. It's not necessarily the MD versus the NP. It's the doctor who is I don't know what word I want to use, but yeah, it's him or her, and then the NP. So I don't know, let me, if you're a nurse practitioner and you have experienced this, let me know in the comments. And if you're a doctor and you know a way to fix this, or if you agree or disagree. I know I read something one time that said like they have a problem with nurse practitioners overstepping their role. But if you're in a state where the nurse practitioner and the MD are lateral, there's no overstepping the role. Now, if you're in a state where the nurse practitioner has to have a collaborating physician, then that's different. But a lot of states are going autonomous with the nurse practitioner, and so y'all gonna have to get on board with that, because it's not changing. And if you got that much of a problem with it, then maybe you need to get out the field, because we not going nowhere. We coming more, we going to school more, and here, hey, we here. Like, subscribe, turn on your notifications. It's Angel the Psych NP. Ciao.